Okay, we are actually back. Yeah, my OBS crashed. It was fun. Good thing all of it saved though, because I record as MKV files, which 99% of the time just makes me have to convert them over to MP4s and makes editing take longer. But you know what? In cases like this where my stuff crashes, because I am the king of scuff, it works so much better. But yeah, my stuff crashed as soon as we loaded into this, so that's a whole lot of fun. But yeah, no, we're back with it. I'm probably gonna not be able to record as many as I wanted to tonight because I was hoping to record 3 episodes, getting back into the swing of it. But because of that crash, I sat there for a while because I'm like, there's a chance it doesn't save all of my stuff. You know what I mean? But I was like, I kind of have to do it now because I waited for like 15, 20 minutes because sometimes even if you do save it as an MKV file, sometimes it doesn't save all your stuff if it crashes like that. So I just kind of had to wait and see. You know what I mean? So yeah, with all that being said, let's just get back into it. After getting back to the library, I made the same request to Juliet about being able to talk together. Not only did she agree, she suggested that we go somewhere else, just for a change of pace. Okay, I didn't crash. Whoa! We shared a quiet taxi ride up to the Botanic Garden, not far from the Cosette's grave. Neither of us tried to talk, which suited me fine. I spent the whole ride trying to think about what I want to say. I imagine Juliet did the same thing. The taxi driver drops us off as close to the entrance as possible, tipping his hat and thanks as Juliet pays him before driving away, leaving the two of us mostly alone. There are people around, but more of them are leaving than entering at this time of the evening. One of those people, a figure sitting on a bench reading, stands up and approaches us. When they step into the light, it turns out to be Aspen.
A new feeling to be the one waiting instead of waited for. Hi, Aspen.
Good evening, Aspen. I hope we didn't keep you waiting for long.
No, not at all. Besides, I can hardly complain when it gives me an opportunity to catch up on some reading. I thought about exploring the gardens a little, but I wasn't sure I'd be able to find my way back out.
There are worse places to be lost, at least. Thank you for indulging my request to come here in the first place.
It was a good idea. Not to say the library's gotten boring, but...
But we do kind of spend all day there. We work there, we live there, we hang out there. We need a new place.
We never really go anywhere else?
Yeah. Exactly, Miho, exactly. I feel better now than I did this morning, at least enough to make a couple jokes. A lot of things still weigh heavily on my mind, but I'm determined to not just be an emotionless wreck that wouldn't help anyone.
Precisely. I've never been here before either, so I'm eager to see the gardens.
It's been a while since I've been here myself, but I believe I remember a nice spot I used to visit with.
Instead of finishing her sentence, Juliet simply begins walking. Her cane makes a steady click a sound as it taps against the stone path. Aspen reads off some of the signs that we pass by, signs which I, of course, have never given a second glance at.
Stonebridge Gully. That sounds rather poetic. Perhaps I'll use it in a story sometime. Ah, Pine Hill Path too. Whoever named these gardens was having fun, weren't they?
Juliet still seems preoccupied, not ignoring us, but not seeming to pay much attention either. She does wait while Aspen pauses to read one of the big signs that talks about the gardens. She writes a little bit in her notebook, then scurries back to us.
One of the photos there caught my eye, and I wanted to take some notes for further reading.
Oh, she's so cute.
There was more to this park than just this one garden.
Really? Like what?
There's an old estate for one thing. Also another garden just for native plants. There's even a cemetery not far away that's apparently part of it.
Oh. I mean, I kind of figured that that's what she was going for, but, you know. The steady rhythm of Juliet's cane misses a beat, but she keeps walking. After a short uphill stroll, we reach our destination. A small brick path juts off the main road, leading to an overlook covered by a glass roof. There are a handful of benches around, but all of them are unoccupied.
Would this do?
Oh, this is so pretty.
It's breathtaking.
Fully agree. I have to agree. Aspen walks slowly to the edge of the overlook, pressing a hand against the glass as she looks out over the view. I stand behind her and do the same. We're higher up than I thought with a good view of the rest of the Botanic Garden from here. I even spot the main gate far across the same rolling green hills that I noticed a couple days ago tower over us. Though she smiles, Juliet doesn't join us, instead sitting down on one of the
What do you
benches.
think, Miho? How does it compare to some of the sights you've seen?
It's pretty nice. I like the view from up on Mount Victoria better, though.
Oh, it's been quite a while since I went up there. Perhaps I should see it myself sometime and compare.
You should. You can see the library from the top. I used to go up there to clear my head, before I started living at the library.
I'll be sure to invite you along, then.
She lingers for just a moment more, gazing out at the darkening sky before taking a seat on the bench across from Juliet. Only I stay standing, pacing back and forth. Despite the pleasant chatter just a moment ago, now that they were all here and settled, both Aspen and Juliet sit quietly, but expectantly, waiting for me to speak first. Since I was the one who asked them to come here, it falls to me to start the conversation, but where to even begin? I've been thinking about that all day, and I've decided that maybe I should just start at the beginning, the very beginning.
Never told you anything about my person, right? About Changin.
They both shake their heads. Taking a deep breath and clearing my throat, I close my eyes and cast my mind back to the forest all those years
I was just a
ago.
regular fox back then. I don't know how old I was. Foxes don't think like that. All we know about is eating snacks and lying in the sun. That was all I really did, all day long. No hobbies or jobs or responsibilities. Just existing. I knew what humans were in the same way I knew what leopards and bears were. Big and scary and something to avoid. It was rare to see one in the forest, but it happened. Most of the time, they were noisy enough that you could hear them coming from far away and hide. That was the first thing that was different about my person, Chongin. I was taking a nap in one of my favorite spots, an old log that had fallen over. Chongin came all the way over and sat down before they woke me up. And when they did, I panicked. I ran and hid as fast as I could. I think they were surprised too. They didn't try to catch me or stop me. Instead, they kept their distance and tossed me a little bit of the meat they were eating. I didn't trust them and didn't know why they were sharing, but it smelled pretty good. So I grabbed the food and ran away, and eventually they left. When I went back to my log the next day, Chongin showed up again too. I ran away again, but they still didn't chase me and let me come back on my own. We did the same thing the next day, and the next day, and the next. Then, one day, I was in a new part of the forest. I liked wandering around even as a fox. I wasn't paying attention to where I was going, when suddenly, it felt like my leg was on fire. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I'd walked right into a trap that a hunter left. I couldn't move as much as I tried, and it's still the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I was sure I was gonna die. Finally, Chongin showed up. At first, I thought they were there to finish me off. Instead, they were worried for me. They knelt down and got my foot out of the trap, and then wrapped it with a part of their shirt to stop it from bleeding. That was when I finally figured out they weren't going to hurt me. I kept going to the grove to see them, and they kept being there. I let them get close enough to touch me after that. Still, they didn't do it much. It was only to check on my leg and make sure it was healing okay. One day I went, and they were waiting like always, but they brought a lot more food than usual. And they gave it all to me, hardly eating anything themselves. After I was finished, we sat together for a while. They sat on my log, and I laid in the grass nearby. Finally, they got up like usual and set two things on the ground. One was a bag of food, the same as they had just given me. The other was a little paper scroll. They patted me on the head for the first and only time. Then they left our grove. At the time, I didn't think that day was anything special, other than the extra snacks. But it was the last time I'd ever see them. When I came back the next day, they weren't there. I waited, just in case they were late, but they never showed up. The scroll they left and some of the food were still there. Other animals had taken a lot of the food, but they didn't want the paper. I took the scroll with me when I left. I didn't know what it was, but it was theirs, so it had to be important. My only option was to carry it in my mouth. I went back again the next day, expecting them to show up, but they never did. I don't know how many more days it took before I realized they weren't coming back. Once I did, it was all I could think about. I kept looking for them, but I couldn't find them, as much as I wanted to. I didn't even know why I wanted to see them so badly. Just that I did. While I was thinking about that, I started to choke. Something came out of nowhere and was stuck in my throat.
Oh my gosh, wait. Sorry, I've been quiet this whole time. I've been like saying like, yeah, I'll say stuff at the end of this. I'm just gonna like kind of let this play out. Sorry, it's been so long. But was the scroll like magic somehow, and it has like her necklace in
I
it?
coughed it up. A bead. I'd never seen it before, and definitely never swallowed it. I left it and went back to my den, but it was waiting for me there too. No matter where I went, it was always waiting. So finally, I touched it with my nose. Everything after that happened so fast. 1 second I was there, just a normal fox. The next, I was in this new form, not sure how or why. Some things came to me naturally, like using my new body and walking on 2 feet, and even how to turn back into a fox. But I still thought like an animal and acted like one. I didn't know any words that I could even think with. I had to learn those, and all kinds of other human behaviors the hard way, after getting chased away from villages and strangers that I met. Over time, I learned how to hide and blend in, and steal, and just how to survive. I followed Jung-in's scent all the way to the ocean. I'd never seen so much water, not even close. I had no idea how huge it was. I boarded a ship like Jung-in had, not knowing that it would take me somewhere different than the one they took. And I've been looking for them ever since.
But I was thinking about, I was like, how weird was that? And I'm still like a little confused on how she works in general, but like, how weird that would be from going from just being a normal fox to suddenly being like a person with like more complex thoughts and all that stuff. Like, that's like just such a crazy idea to me. And then along with that, like, how does her power, like, is it the scroll that had her beads in it? Or since she is like a specific, I don't want to say like magical creature, but like a specific kind of, you know, thing like Juliet. I forgot what they called them in this in the story. Is it like something that just like comes to them naturally? I don't know. When I open my eyes again, they're heavy with tears, but this time I don't try to hide them. I didn't mean to talk for so long, but once I started remembering, everything else just came naturally. Oh, can we please get a CG of them just hugging, please? Turning to face Aspen and Juliet, I see that they're crying too.
They sound like they were a wonderful person.
I can see why you never stopped searching for them. They were truly special, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they really were.
Remembering how their hand felt on my head and the softness of their touch as they inspected my leg. Those thoughts hurt as much as the hunter's trap did, but also, they make me smile too. I've often worried that they might have forgotten me, but I don't think they did. They only knew me as a fox before I had any magic, so their memory should have stayed intact. Those days weren't long, but they were special to me. But they were special to me, and I hope to Zhongyin too. And so, I don't want to let them become painful memories. I want to smile when I think about them.
I'm sorry for getting so mad at you yesterday, Juliet. And for how I acted this morning with you, Aspen. I know that you both just wanted to keep me from getting hurt. But that's another thing, too. It feels like you're always looking after me, or taking care of me. There are lots of things I'm still learning, but I'm not weak. I've taken care of myself for a long time, you know. So, I don't want it to be like that anymore. I want you to be honest with me from now on, both of you. Even if it's something that would make me sad or angry. I promise that I won't run away without saying anything. I won't just disappear no matter what happens. Because if we're really friends, then we should trust each other, right? That's one of the things I've learned.
Having said everything I wanted to, I finally sit down, taking a spot between the two of them. Just like at breakfast. Oh, not the. Oh my gosh. What is the name of the song? I haven't heard it in like a month or two. But oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good. Okay. So this is called Flyleaf. It just has like little bits of Someone Someday. That's the song. I was just thinking about it, like this song was called Flyleaf, and I was like, it just has little bits of Someone Someday in it, which is so. Ooh, you can hear it. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Having said everything I wanted to, I finally sit down, taking a spot between the two of them, just like at breakfast every morning. For a second, the three of us sit there quietly, then Juliet begins to speak.
What you say, Miho. And I agree. You're not the only one still learning things, you know? I have a long way to go to. For years, I felt it for the best to remain open, but guarded. If I maintained a comfortable distance, even from those I call my dearest friends, then I would be protecting myself. By never getting to know anyone too well, by withholding any meaningful details of my life, I thought to avoid the pain of loss again. But all I've done is keep myself from experiencing that joy of companionship again, while even causing hurt to others. I'm not too experienced when it comes to being honest to myself. Or perhaps only honest to a point. But you're right, Miho. That isn't how it should be. From here on out, I'll endeavor to be more open, more real, with both of you. For myself, and for you.
Yes, let's go. Sorry about talking too much this episode. It's just like it's like such heavy plot, you know. It's not just plot; it's like very heavy plot. So I'm like, I'm gonna interrupt to say something stupid and silly. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm just kind of like enjoying the story, if I'm being completely honest. So if you're not enjoying that, I understand it. Sorry that I'm just sitting here quietly. Juliet looks in our direction, but in particular at Aspen right now.
Aspen? There's something that I'd like to tell you.
She begins telling Aspen about Cosette, in much the same way she told me yesterday. I sit there quietly and think about what she said. Hearing Juliet describe herself reminds me of me. In the end, we've both always been running away, haven't we? Despite how perfect and put together Juliet always seemed, she's actually been struggling just as much. She's just better at hiding it than me. As Juliet recounts the vow she made in honor of Cosette, I see Aspen is listening with rapt attention, like when she gets really absorbed into one of her books. When Juliet finishes her story, both of them have to wipe their eyes. Aspen rummages around in her bag and pulls out a small pack of tissues, offering one to Juliet before nosily blowing her nose and wiping her eyes.
A lot to take in. Thank you for telling me, though. Cosette sounds like she was a wonderful person, just like Johnine. I wish I could have met her.
I wish you could have as well. She would have had endless stories to recount, and I know she would have loved to share them.
As for all the other stuff, first of all, I promise, to both of you, I want us to be truly friends as well. I don't have anything quite so dramatic in my past, but I certainly know how it feels to be performative. I can hardly fault you for curating your self-image when I do the same thing. It's kind of funny, actually.
Nani?
and a little scary to hear you talk about Cosette and Zhuangyin. Because, as someone who will one day be past tense, I often wonder about how I'll be remembered when I'm gone.
Why did her mouth
Not
stop
that I
moving? That was so
expect
weird.
that to be any time soon, but still, I hope that someone
Oh.
speaks of me just as fondly someday. There will be more than enough time for me to worry about that in the future, though. Right now, I'm glad we had this conversation. It was worth the near panic attack I had earlier, wondering what would be said tonight.
Me too. I still have a lot to think about, and I'm still sad. But I don't want to be sad forever. I know it's not what they would have wanted for me either. But I do know that I'm lucky I met you two, and that you're my friends. I wanted to say like that.
My cheeks burned from saying something like that out loud. For the first time ever. But I liked saying it because it's true. Although I'd already made up my mind to stay, it's sitting here in the middle of the gardens that I know I made the right decision. For all the doubts I had, all the struggles, I'm thankful that it happened, and I can finally admit that to myself. Maybe it won't turn out the way I expected, but for once, I'm content with my life right
Well
now.
said. And don't worry, Miho. We're not going anywhere.
Even if it's not always perfect, it doesn't need to be. Just like
Miho,
Juliet.
I'm glad too. The first time you stepped into the Bell House was one of the luckiest days of my life.
Aww. All I have to do is keep trying, like Aspen. So maybe another first time would be appropriate. Hopping up from the bench, I grab Aspen's hand and Juliet's hand and pull them to their feet too. Going, oh, there we go! Oh, there we go! It's so cute! Oh. Listen, I said it as soon as the scene started. Like, I mean, not as soon as it started, but like, I need the group hug CG. That's what I needed. Then spreading my arms as wide as I can, I pull them both into a hug. Without hesitation, I feel them embrace me in return. From that first day at the cafe, all the way to now, it's chilly out here in the gardens in the cool summer evening air, but it's warm in Aspen and Juliet's arms, and I smile to myself and to them,
Mine
and to
too.
anyone who may be watching. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh, that was great. Like, again, I'm so sorry for not talking too much. Like, that does kind of defeat the point of you guys watching a video instead of just reading yourself that kind of junk. But like, oh, I don't know. It felt almost inappropriate to talk. Like, I even thought of a few jokes in my head, but I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm not ruining that moment for me. I don't even care about you guys right now. I'm not ruining the moment for me, even though I thought of the joke and all that junk. Oh, that was so good. That was so good, but also so heavy. Like, this, like, that's how, like, why, like, this game is, like, so special to me, is because, like, it's always just hitting me. It's always just hitting me in those feels, you know? It's always making me just feel stuff. And that's, like, the mark of something that's going to stick with me for a long time, is, like, if it can actually make me feel, like, I'm going to say, like, not negative emotions, like, not, like, frustration or anger or, like, disappointment, like, stuff like that. But, like, this is making me sad and happy, and, like, it's like hitting me like in those like feels of like it's bringing up like sad stuff from the past, but it's also putting them in like a better perspective, I guess, or like showing me like it's like not just a me thing that happened, but like everyone goes through like this kind of stuff. Like if that makes sense, it's making me feel things in the best ways possible, and that's how you know it's like something really special to me at least. But I think with that being said, I do want to record more. I want to record so much more. I honestly, if I didn't have to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow for work, I'd probably record another hour or two. But I do, in fact, need to call it there for tonight. I'm glad to be back. I promise that this isn't. I can't even say I can't promise, because like the last 2 episodes that I recorded before I had to take this huge break, I haven't uploaded yet, so I still have them. So those last 2 I recorded. Then I had to take another huge break of like a month or two. And now we're back, and I'm not going to take another break from this game until we finish. So I plan to record a few episodes each week, and then I think after I have the whole thing ready, I don't know if I'm just going to, it depends on how many. Like, if I'm at like 15 episodes, and then the first route ends, then I'll call it there, essentially, and start uploading them. But unless that happens, like, let's say, like, the first route ends in the next couple episodes, then we'll probably go. Then I'll probably just wait till I'm done with the whole visual novel, and then I'll start uploading it just so that there are no more breaks in it, because I've hated how many breaks there have been in this series. I hate it. I hate it. Like, I like starting things and then, like, having them be consistent on the channel. You know what I mean? As if there's anything consistent about me. But I would like to either get a huge backlog of this or just finish it before I start uploading it. So my plans are to try and record about 5 to 6 episodes a week. So then I can hopefully start uploading them by the start of either the end of this year or the start of next year. Honestly, with Christmas break coming up in like 2-3 weeks, I could probably just finish it then, depending on how much I have left. But regardless, with all that good stuff being said, I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one. Bye bye.